And missing this weekend is the Division 2. So what they did, they ran Division 1 as usual, and then they also ran the 1400 Cup. Well, the European Championship coming down here for the 5th round, and the leader this year, Per Eklund. But at the moment, let's have a pick up with that 1400 Cup. Jean-Michel Laurent and Roger Ramboots, the battle of the Belgians. This cup totally dominated by Peugeot and Citroën. Off the Formula 3 race circuit, onto the rough stuff. And in qualifying, these two very, very confident, Laurent and Rambout. The 1400 Cup, different from Division 1 and 2. The cars are almost standard, no race trims allowed. There's frantic activity and last-minute adjustments, so typical of Division 1 and 2. You can hardly see what they're doing to the cars. Well, here we are, the final of the 1400 Cup, and it's Laurent in pole position. He's got no problems taking the lead in the start, but second into the first bend is Britain's Elliot Dalkin. Well, Dalkin's facing problems in the hairpin. And indeed runs into the tyres. So Graham Hollis in third place. Jean-Michel Laurent wins the final, comfortably followed by Roger Rambout, Christophe Chalnay and Elliot Dalkin. An easy victory perhaps for Jean-Michel Laurent.
It's quite easy. I was on the pole position. I make a good start thanks to Avon, and I won the race, no problem.
So let's have a look at Division 1 then. Ludwig Hunsberg, he won here at Pembrey last year, but it hasn't looked quite so good in the European Championship for him this year. First qualification, Division 1, Michael Jernberg in pole position, Ludwig Hunsberg next to him, and Jean-Luc Paillet there in the Citroën. John Maloney from Ireland. Paillet takes the start in front of Hunsberg and Jernberg. Paillet driving well here. Remember his second place in Essay at the last round. However, Paillet is under strong attack from Hunsberg and Jernberg. Now Jernberg and Hunsberg have got in front of Paillet. Hunsberg into the lead, but Jernberg still driving. Oh, and he goes off. Hunsberg was in the lead, and then that suddenly happened. Off he goes. Something breaks in the car. Well, the mechanics looking at what happened there, and Hunsberg tells us exactly what broke on his Escort.
The front hub on the right side was broken, and we lose the wheel and everything. So that was shit, because we haven't spare parts. We have ordered, but it's not ready before next week. So we have welded, and we just hope it's gonna run this day.
The second qualifying, Michael Jernberg, the Swede, driving very convincingly here. Jernberg's got no problems keeping the Citroën man, Jean-Luc Paillet, behind him. Jernberg taking second best time in qualification and scoring the same in second. Michael Jernberg among those have a good chance of winning the European Championship, but everything's got to go his way. Well, the crew working on Jernberg's car afterwards. A major engine faults occurred towards the end of the second qualification. Something happened there. Appears that maybe a fuel injection problems caused the total engine failure. Well, the broken engine has to be removed and a new one installed. The team have got 2.5 hours to do it. Can they do it? Third qualification, Division 1, Kenneth Hansen in pole from Per Eklund, and from pole position, Hansen controls the situation, hits the first corner as number 1, but Eklund is right behind him. Well, the fight goes into the hairpin with Hansen still in the lead. Will there be a repetition of the SA situation with the coming togethers there and the somewhat heated debate that followed? Hansen doesn't have any problems keeping Eklund behind, and he even increases the distance on his rival. So victory for Kenneth Hansen in the forthcoming final will make him new leader of the European Championship. It's all looking good for Kenneth Hansen. He's about to score the best time in the second qualification, which means he can skip the third qualification and take a break before the final. Well, Michael Jernberg and his team, however, have no time to rest. The new engine has to be fitted before the final, otherwise Jernberg will lose valuable points and his chance of becoming European champion will be considerably diminished. It's a fight against the clock. Third qualification, Ludwig Hunsped, sitting there behind the wheel at some 180 kilometers an hour, must be wondering if that weld is going to hold on the front suspension or not. Well, the wheel doesn't break. But something else is wrong as the Norwegian approaches the checkered flag. It's another Jernberg problem. He's lost all his power. Well, this time it turns out the throttle cable's broken. And the champion and last year's winner will not qualify. He has to throw in the towel. So the real fight in Division A is going to stand between Per Eklund and Kenneth Hansen, with Kenneth Hansen on pole position. Cars on the grid before the start, no sign of Jernberg. The team couldn't make it in time, so Division 1 A final. Per Eklund, Kenneth Hansen. Well, Eklund couldn't beat him in qualifying, but he certainly beats him now. Eklund overtakes Hansen on the inside, driving flat out onto the gravel. Let's have a replay of the start procedure from Hansen's car. Hansen slows down slightly before the corner. It's just enough for Eklund to get by. There he goes. Cuts to front. It's going to be a rough ride for Eklund with Kenneth Hansen sniffing his tail, trying everything to regain control of the car. Well, close racing in the hairpin, and Jean-Luc Payet is not far behind Kenneth Hansen either. Now remember, Eklund's car's got an extremely powerful engine, and in spite of his skilled and technical driving, Kenneth Hansen is unable to make any impression on the Saab driver. Onto the rough stuff. And these pictures from inside Hansen's car show just how difficult it is to drive behind another car on the gravel. Drivers absolutely blinded by the dust. That's good enough motivation to be up there out front from the start. A final lap coming up. Kenneth Hansen manoeuvring into a position to take a shortcut behind Eklund, just as he did on the final lap in Melke in Austria in the first round of the European Championship. But Eklund's learned his lesson. He manages to keep up through the sheer force of the Saab engine. He just has the power, and in spite of Hansen's repeated attacks, Per Eklund wins the final here at Pembrey, becomes the first person this year to win 2 races, and thus keeps his overall lead in the European Championship Series. It was that close all the way through. So Eklund, the first double round winner of the year. And the continuing championship leader. Well, a very happy Per Eklund in the Welsh sunshine after the race.
It's better and better. And the good engine builder even. So they have done a very good work. And we have done what we think was correct, and everything have working. No problem at all the whole season.
Well, let's have another look at perhaps the most determined attempt to pass Eklund in the beginning of the starting stretch on the last lap. Look at that, great driving by both these. They didn't touch this time, no problems. Let's hear what Kenneth thought about Per Eklund's driving this weekend.
We saw that in the end of the straight on we had about almost 190 kilometers. But when we hit the gravel after the start, it's about 175. So you need to have some guts to go in the car and to turn into the gravel and go sideways in that speed, that's for sure.